morning. My name is Margaret, and welcome to my wonderful knitting life. I am the host of this channel, and this channel is mostly a knitting channel, although I do like to talk about my life living in Quebec, Canada, on the north shore of the St. Lawrence, and other crafty things that might be in my life at the current moment. I also like to talk about things that are going on in my life and my family, and you can visit me at the end of this video for some life news if you're interested. So today is November 22nd, and I'm a little disheveled because teachers in Quebec are on strike with the Common Front workers, and the Common Front would be the greater public workers involving support staff at schools, hospital workers, all of the nurses. And so I've been outside. We have snow and wind, and we did a march this morning, and I bundled up in my knits, and thank goodness I had them on because it was not the warmest day. So what you find me wearing today is my Playtime Shawl, and I talked about this before. This is a crochet item, and it is a glorious shawl by a podcaster called Knitty Natty. She's very well known, so I'm sure you've probably heard of her. I absolutely love wearing this shawl. It's super drapey. It's got a bit of a boho vibe to it, and it has these fabulous baubles. And the baubles are not too big. They're just the perfect size, so they don't really get in the way. And I like how this is a really elongated triangle. It's kind of my favorite style of shawl at the moment, because you can wrap it around and it's kind of scarf-like, and the ends dangle, and I just really like that that look. The other thing I'm wearing, oh sorry, there's some dog noise. The other thing I'm wearing is a sweater that I brought back from Ottawa to show on the podcast. I showed it quite a while ago, and Joy from Quail's Knitting Nest asked me to take more pictures of it. So I brought it back with me, and I thought today I'm gonna wear it. This is a sweater. I can't remember if it was bottom up or top down, but it is an in the round yoke sweater, and it also has pattern at the bottom. I made it very, very long, which was perfect for today being outside in the wind. And it is made out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport, and it is 100% wool. This is a yarn that when the exchange rate between the US and Canada was better, I picked a lot of that up, and I still have quite a bit of it in my stash. And I find it a really hard wearing non-superwash yarn, and it also feels very soft. It doesn't have a scratchy rustic feel to it, so it's definitely a yarn that I enjoy using. And thankfully I have quite a bit in my stash, so I'll be able to create some more projects in the future with that. I don't have the name of this pattern, but I am 99% sure that it was in a knitting magazine from quite some time ago. And given that I have been a person who's moved quite a bit in the last 15 years, a lot of those knitting magazines, almost all of them, basically had to go as I just went on to digital products, which are obviously very transportable. You don't have to store anything. So if anybody can find it, let me know. It's a beautiful pattern. The only criticism I have is that there's no short rows, and that drives me nuts. I really don't like it when a sweater creeps up on the front of my neck. Kind of drives me crazy. So that would be my recommendation if anybody was to find this pattern and do it themselves, would be to put in some short rows. All right, so I have been pretty busy the last couple of weeks. I usually only podcast once every 3 to 4 weeks, and I think we're at the 2-week mark, but there has been so much that has happened, and I have the time given that I'm on strike at the moment. Hopefully not for too long, but it is what it is. So after my last podcast where I showed the ZigZag cowl that I had finished in Rauma PT2 in the blue and the off-white, I decided I was going to make another one. This is a great pattern for gift knitting. I found that it was super memorizable. Like, I don't need to look at the pattern anymore. If I make a third one, I'm really just good to go. This is a pattern by Inga of the Knitting Traditions podcast, and I believe she goes by just Knitting Tradition without the S on Ravelry. It is a paid for pattern, and she has a couple of other cowl patterns that are also really beautiful. This one would be her most simple pattern, fantastic pattern for beginners wanting to try out color work. So after my podcast and the finished zigzag cowl, I cast on another one. And this is a really rusty orange and the same cream. I'm using up that cream because I used that in the other cowl. And this one is going to my oldest nephew who is in his first year of university. And these are his school colors. So he's always telling his mom, my sister, that he's really cold when he goes to like the sports games, all the activities outside. So I'm really hoping he'll be able to wear this with some of his other school items and that he'll be able to enjoy it. It is also knit from Rauma PT2, which is a non-superwash yarn and not that prickly. I really like this yarn. It's very similar to this one where it's hard wearing. It is a fingering, but I find it a little bit of a heavier fingering weight. So this will not have the drape. It will have more structure to it, which is perfect for a cowl where you really want it to more stand up than scrunch down when you're wearing it. Now, in my joy of knitting cowls, I did look around to see what else was out there. Because although I love this pattern, I don't know that I really want to make 10 of the same thing. And I did a little searching to see what else I could find out there. But I also looked to see what was available for free on Ravelry. And there are a lot of free cowl patterns out there in many different weights of yarn. So if you're interested in making cowls, and maybe you're on strike like I am, which does impact the wallet, there are some fabulous free patterns out there. This one, which to me reminds me of like lemons or oranges, is called the 𝐿𝐈𝐅𝐓 cowl. And I will put that in the show notes if you're interested in looking it up. And what I thought might work super nice for this, for the cream, I've got some Mondim 100% wool. Let me just find the specs on this one. It's 100% wool, I believe, but it is Portuguese wool. It's not a superwash, but you can make socks from this. That's Retrosaria is the company name. And I have made socks from this and I find they're fantastic, but you cannot put them in the washing machine or they felt on you. So what I thought I would pair this with is a skein that I got some time ago from Full Moon Fibers. They are indie dyers and they, I believe, if I remember correctly, two sisters, and they do the most wonderful dyeing. And I absolutely love the color orange, but this is a super fun color. And it is called, the colorway is called Vibes. And it is in their wormhole fingering, which is a 4-ply, 100% Peruvian Highland wool. And this is also a non-superwash. So I thought that would work super well for this pattern. And this pattern actually uses 3 colors because there's a gray that's kind of in the center there. But I think I'm just going to go with the 2 colors and knit that up. So that's something that's on my scope right now, on my to-do list. And whoops, I did not print this one out in color, but I thought this one would be a super fun little quick cowl. This is the Charlotte Lucas cowl. and I am a Jane Austen fan, so that caught my eye. And this is lots of fun little simple stitches. I do believe there might be some purl stitches in there, so there's also some texture, which would be really nice. So that's another one I liked. And the other thing I liked about this, along with the zigzag cowl, is that it's very neutral in regard to gender. So it would work really well for a man or a woman. And, you know, I have nephews, a brother-in-law, and if I can, I like to make them things. So it's nice to have patterns that are not just very feminine and can work for both. So that's those are my adventures in my cowls at the moment. All right, so the next thing I've been working on is my Albertine jacket by Sidsel Hoivik. And I have talked about my progress with this jacket for a little while now. Let me see if I can just kind of get that jacket without showing too much of the pattern. So I'm working on the purple Albertine jacket by Sidsel Hoivik. This pattern also comes in a beautiful orange, and I'd be tempted to make that too. I love this pattern so much. I have made other Sidsel Hoivik jackets. I've made this one right here, which is the Forest Star jacket. And this one over here is the Olivia jacket. That one is not finished yet. It's on the to-do list. So I ordered this as a kit from Sidsel Hoivik's web store, and it came beautifully packaged. There's 5 colors of purple involved in this jacket. And she also gives you the option to purchase the buttons that she uses in her designs. You can add that to the kit if you want when you purchase. And it came with the printed pattern. And she also sent me the PDF of the pattern because she found that the purples are very hard to print. I didn't know that about the color purple and printing. They kind of come out more of a blue. So that was something I learned. So I have been working on this quite steadily, but on the weekend, I just like literally plowed through, and I can't remember how many rows I did, or like 3 or so inches, which would normally be okay. But I have got an injury in my left hand, and I woke up the next day and it was really not very happy with me. So I had to switch to doing some of the decorations, which was fine. So I have been knitting along with this project. And where I'm up to is, last time I stopped, I was starting the decreases. So I did all the decreases, and then I also have done the increases because she's got a really nice decrease and then just a little increase where the waist is, and then it increases up so that you know, when you're coming near your bust, you get a little bit more fabric for that. So I've done that, and now all I have to do is just knit the pattern up to the armholes. So I think I have maybe 3 inches to go, but I really had to take a pause because my hand was hurting. But with Sidsel Hoivik's patterns, there's lots of other things to do. So I had already started with what is called the duplicate stitch. So this is where you're taking another color and you're doing more of an embroidery stitch, but it ends up looking like a knit stitch. And that is all the way around the edge where you're going up the button band, and it's also all around the bottom of the pattern, okay, the whole way around. So I haven't done it on both sides, but you can see how beautiful that is, how that just brings the edging to life. And I also took the time to put the little sequins in, which also have like a little glass bead as well on top of the sequin, which is fantastic because that also means that you're not having to see lots of stitching around the sequins, because you just go right through the hole in the center of the sequin, through the glass little bead, and then right back down through the hole that you came through originally in the sequin. So there's no wrapping of thread or anything like that. So I am just in love with this progress. I can't wait to get further along. I'm gonna have to go back to maybe like my three rows a day until my hand can manage all of the knitting. The cowl knitting's not been quite as bad because it's just a lighter garment. But I'm loving this. Absolutely can't wait to wear this and enjoy it. But I think doing some of that duplicate stitch and decoration as I go along. Sorry about the barking. I think the mailman just came. Anyway, mailman is not my dog's friend. He hates them. He's a really gentle dog, but the mailman is a no-go for him. I think doing the decoration a little bit as I'm going will be kind of nice when I finish the knitting, and then I'm kind of at the point where it's just a little bit more decoration and not a ton. So I think I'm going to keep alternating, doing some knitting, doing the duplicate stitch with the sequins, and that will just make that finish to the home stretch be a lot faster when I get there. So that is the Albertine jacket by Sidsel Hoivik. A beautiful, beautiful garment. And if you've never looked at her web store, I would highly recommend going and taking a look. It's like eye candy. Her designs are just out of this world. It's so fun. They're so fun. And she also has non-cardigan garments. So she has sweaters, drop-down sleeved sweaters, which would, if you're scared of the cardigan and the steeking, that might be a little bit of a safer bet for somebody first starting out, but who also wants to enjoy one of her designs. All right, so I do have another garment that I haven't shown before. It went into the hibernation cupboard because, well, there were a couple of issues. So one person that I also really enjoy their designs is Marie Wallin. This sweater that's right beside me here it's covering my messy sewing machine mess. It is gorgeous. I love this, and it's a little crunch because it's been in my cupboard. I think this is called the 𝐂𝐿𝐼𝐋 sweater. It's one of the more recent ones from her book Gentle, which I did buy, and I'll try to put that in the show notes. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. So I'm not going to show my disaster Marie Wallin sweater. I don't have the courage to do that right now. I have a sweater that's completely knit up. It was the very first one I made. The sizing was a disaster. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to rip the whole thing out or not. But I learned from that one, and this one, whereas I normally would make a large, this one I dropped right down to a small after looking at the number of stitches in the yoke when it gets to its longest, right here where you have the most stitches. And given that this is fingering, I compared it to a regular fingering sweater. This is a sport weight, but just for an example, I compared it to the number of stitches that you would have when you'd finish the yoke. And I realized like 500 and some stitches is just way too big for me. Maybe it's something to do with my gauge, but I checked that. So I'm not sure what was happening there, but I went down to the small and it fits perfectly. Although, you know, I have daughters who are a size small and this would not be a small. So for me, the small was a large and I absolutely love it. So I've made two, one which I have to decide what I'm going to do with it. And maybe I'll talk about that next time, but that's a conversation for another time. But I do have another Marie Wallin knit on the go, and I paused it. So this was a kit that I bought, and it's very much like the chestnut sweater. This one is called Honeysuckle, and I got it in the color Woad, which is this gorgeous colorway right here. Love the colors, love the design. The yarn is Marie Wallin's British Breeds, which is outstanding. Even the smell of it, because it has warbles, sheep wool in it, which smells absolutely wonderful. I don't know if the smell ever leaves the yarn, but if it doesn't, I'm fine with that because the smell is gorgeous. So, oh boy. So this is kind of painful. I absolutely love this. This is gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Nothing wrong with it. It has this corrugated rib at the bottom, which is to die for with the colors that are in there. It's so soft. The mutedness of it, I just love. Okay, so here's where the problems are. This is knit in pieces. And although I'm quite capable of purling, I have not figured out how to do that continental style very well. But when I'm doing color work, I like to have my two hands going. And that really only works when I'm knitting all the time. I am a new to continental knitting. I've always been a thrower for English style, which, as pretty well everybody knows now, that is very time consuming. So I'm trying to be a little bit smarter with my knitting and a little faster. So I realize now that given that I do know how to steek garments, I should have knit this in the round and steeked it. Without a doubt, that is the method that I should have taken for this garment, because it's driving me nuts having to do the purl side. I hate it. It's not enjoyable. So this is the back of the sweater. I love it. But the other problem is, and I even measured my gauge because I believe it's 28 stitches. Yeah, 28 stitches, 29 rows over the 10 centimeters, 10 by 10. And I'm bang on. The problem is that I decided to do the large, which, you know, I kind of vary between large and extra large. I don't like tight fitting clothing. I like there to be some positive ease. However, when I measured this and I stretched it out, well, not stretched it, but held it out, it's coming out in width to like 24, 25 inches wide. And if the front is going to be the same, I'm looking at a circumference of like 48, 50 inches. And I'm really thinking that's going to be too big. I don't know. I think it's just going to be too big. And I don't want to end up with a garment that is oversized when it's a cardigan, because I really want the cardigan effect, not a supersized slouchy, you know? So here's what I'm thinking. Although that is a good chunk of knitting, the beauty of hibernating it for 8 months or however long it's been hidden in the cupboard is that I'm not emotionally attached to the knitting anymore, even though I love it. It's not like ripping it out right after you've just knit it. I'm kind of the mindset of, somebody else did that, doesn't matter anymore, I can take it apart. So I'm kind of the mindset right now, although maybe not ready to completely jump for it, to knit it in the round. Steek it, knit it in the round. I know how to do it. It's not a big deal. And I can put in purl stitches down the side if I'm concerned about any shaping issues and I want to have that pieced look to the garment. And if I do that, I also am not going to have to spend all of this time purling the colorwork side, which I absolutely hate to do. Just hate it. It's not my thing. So that's kind of where we're at with this project. I thought I would show it today. I love it. It's just beautiful. And her colorwork is divine, just gorgeous. So I'll keep you posted on that one. If I can like suck in my breath and rip it out, maybe get my daughter to help me rip it out, and then go down to a large. And in the end, I'll just be really a lot happier with the garment. And it will be twice as fast if I just put it in the round. By far, it'll be so much faster. All right, so I'm just looking down at my notes if you're wondering why I keep looking at the floor. Other crafty things. So I do other crafty things. I venture into many areas of fiber arts and fabric. And one of the things that I like to do is weave. I haven't actually been weaving for 2 months. I need to make the jump to go back. I guess I have a little bit of an emotional barrier there because the day that I hurt my hand and everything happened, I had just come back from weaving and then I walked my dogs and then, you know, the thing happened. So I think it's just one more thing that I have to kind of, it's a hurdle I have to get over. But I have been keeping myself busy finishing off the hems of my tea towels. So I like to weave tea towels. They're so much fun to make. I've got 3 different designs here, and I love to give them as gifts. I find that they just make wonderful gifts. And one thing that I've never done for my family yet is make a Christmas themed tea towel. I've given many tea towels as gifts since I've started weaving, but I haven't given a Christmas themed tea towel. So if my family's watching, don't look, that's probably what's coming. The other thing I want to do is also, if I have the time, is include these little scrubbies. These are made out of the Pattern, I think it's Pattern Scrubby yarn. This is the nylon one, and I find they're fantastic for washing dishes. They're really easy to crochet. This one needs the ends woven in, but I thought like that would be such a cute little gift to have, like a scrubby and a tea towel together. Oh, lots of mailmen today, I think. Or maybe there's dogs walking by, I'm not sure, but I can hear a whole lot of barking going on out there. And another tea towel that I picked up that I had woven is this gorgeous one, which is in pink, green, and beige. And then there's these dark burgundy lines running through it. It's a bit squished because it's just been sitting here waiting to be finished. So I've got a couple of those to finish. And I like to put in this cotton boucle, which really puffs up when they get washed. And I find them really durable too. They last a really long time, and it's kind of nice. My friend always says, if you give these as gifts, every time somebody uses them in their house, they always think of you. So I think that's really nice and sweet. So I have those to finish as well, and my dogs are up to no good. I can hear them pushing through the front door baby gate. All right, so another crafty thing that I'm going to finish for myself, because I absolutely love the color orange. And I made one of these for my mom. I made a couple for my principal and my secretary a few years ago. So this is a cowl, and it is 100% silk. So this is kind of a thrift store little creation of mine. So what I used to do, and I certainly have a huge supply of them, is I used to pick up used men's 100% silk ties in thrift stores. Sometimes thrift stores will have a sale where it's like fill a bag for $10 and, you know, take whatever. So I have purchased a lot of 100% silk ties, and what I do with them is I just throw them in the washing machine, which sounds horrible, but you got to do it to see which silk is going to be good and hardy. So I throw them in the wash, and then I throw them in the dryer, and the ones that stand the test of time, I pick out the lining, which is probably already kind of balled itself up and not looking so healthy. And then I cut them up and I sew the pieces together. And in this one, basically I chopped rectangles and then sewed them around in a curve. And all I really have to do now is just sew the other side together. And I just think it's very pretty. It's very light and soft and very, very skin friendly. And I have a 𝐿𝐿𝐿 sweater in this color. And when I put this on, it just looks amazing. 𝐿𝐿𝐿 is a free design by Espace Tricot. So you can find that one for free on Ravelry. So that's just a little fun thing I'm doing as well on the side. And I have one more thing to talk about, and I forgot to take them out of the Ziploc bags. But a wonderful friend of mine in Ottawa, her name is Tracy. She has donated to the podcast some absolutely stunning project bags. So we have this one. It's got pockets inside, it's lined, it's got the pull tie and these lovely little handles. So I have that one. She is extremely generous. There's quite a few of them here. I really like this one. This one's got kind of like a tapestry vibe. It's like a little bucket bag. Oh, it's so cute. Looks like leather handles. And a little tag that says a button jar. So I also have that one. And then there's this one would be wonderful for socks. I love you, spelled E-U-E, and this is a little zippered bag. So what I thought I would do with these is use them as prizes for the podcast. They're really easy to put in the mail. And the next prize will be the 1,500 subscriber point. So I'm almost at 1,200, so just 300 away. And what I'll do when the time comes is I'll do that random comment picker, and I'll invite the person who wins to choose which one they'd like me to mail to them. And then maybe we'll do a prize at the 2,000 mark. And without a doubt, the first day I uploaded a video, which was January 6th, there's going to be a 1-year anniversary prize for sure, for sure. So that is on the agenda. So keep tuned for those ones. What else? Oh, the Grande Ours Laine prize was claimed for the 1,000 subscriber. Monique was the one who won. And she wrote to me on Instagram, and I got that mailed out to her, and she let me know that she had received it. And she also said that she plans on making a spring shawl with it. And I thought, what a great idea. That yarn just screams springtime. Fantastic. So hopefully she can take a picture of it when she gets to it and send it. I'd love to see what she creates with it. But I had so much fun with that. That was super fun to be able to do a prize and go through the process of the random generator, picking a comment and then announcing it, and connecting with Monique. Was so much fun. All right, so life news. I don't know if I dare bring my life news in here because there's all kinds of yarn all over the place. So I had connected with the organization Rescue Dogs Lebanon Canada about a month ago. And I was looking to get another dog. I had one pass away, and I just found like the house was just too quiet without 2 dogs. So with their help, I was able to find a lovely new dog. His name is Seeky, S-E-E-K-Y, and he is from Lebanon. And 12 days ago, I did a 30-hour round trip, 3-day drive. A little crazy, but it is what it is. I drove down to our cottage just outside of Ottawa. I took a carload of stuff because I am looking at leaving here at the end of the school year and moving back. And so I did that. I slept there. And the next day I woke up, I drove to Montreal and met the plane that he was arriving on with the help of a wonderful man named Bruno, who came from Lebanon to visit his family and kindly brought 2 dogs over with him on his ticket. I was absolutely amazed by how well organized this group of people are, how kind they are. My world has been opened to another amazing group of people. I met a volunteer, her name was Crystal, and she helped take the dogs out of the crate. That's quite a procedure. They're all zip tied in there, and the dogs have been in those crates a very long time. So our instinct is to get them out as quickly as possible. But of course, they've been through quite an adventure, and they're coming into a colder climate, different people, different smells in an airport. So she met us and helped us do that process. And in that, She told me that she was just 4 hours later hopping on a plane and going to Lebanon to bring more dogs back who had families waiting for them. And this was just a volunteer thing that she was doing. She had some extra time, overtime that she'd done with her job, and I believe this was her third trip in being a volunteer and in heading over. And she had a little backpack and 2 large suitcases. And the 2 large suitcases were absolutely full of items donated for the rescue organization to use in Lebanon with the dogs that they are finding that are abandoned, neglected, and all of that sort of thing. So it was amazing to see how their operation is functioning, the incredible volunteers, and just amazing people. You know, when you do these things, you don't expect to, you know, your world to open to new friends, but mine did. And I'm really excited about that. I'm still keeping in touch with Siki's foster mom. She had Siki, I think, for almost 4 months, so she was clearly very attached. So, you know, I'm sending pictures on WhatsApp and keeping her up to date with how things are going, and they're going fantastic. My 2 dogs are really enjoying each other's company. It took about 24 hours for them to just, you know, this is great, we're friends, let's go. I didn't think it would happen that fast, but it's wonderful that it did. So if you are on the market for a new dog and you're looking to help a dog that is disadvantaged, I would highly recommend Rescue Dogs Lebanon Canada, and I will also put them in the show notes. All right, I think that's it for today. If you've enjoyed this content today, it would be wonderful if you could like and subscribe, and then you will hopefully, and hit the notification bell, and that way you'll be notified when I upload any future videos. All right, everybody, take care, happy knitting, and I wish you all very, very well. Bye-bye.